Take 6.
It's not take 6.
So you start all your videos.
Take 7. Hiya loves, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be reviewing ABBA Voyage. I am buzzing to be reviewing this show, and the reason why it's going to be on the theatre review is because honestly it didn't feel like we were just watching ABBA at a music gig. It was an experience. Of course, you may have noticed that Adam is going to be joining me again for
Hello.
this review. Welcome back, my love.
Oh, a pleasure.
Because we've had this book for so long.
Oh yeah.
And because we sort of saw 101 Dalmatians and then the following day we saw ABBA Voyage, I thought it'd be really cool to review it with you. And you're a massive fan of ABBA.
I love ABBA. I mean, who doesn't love ABBA? If you ever encounter someone who says, "Oh yeah, don't really like ABBA,"
Yeah.
they're either they haven't admitted it to themselves yet, or they're just lying.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be really cool to review it with you, and we can talk about our best bits, our highlights of the show, what we loved, and generally just why people should go and see it, because I think you should. And we're only like, nearly 2 minutes in, and I'm just saying it bluntly as it is, you should go and see the show.
You
book
really
now,
should.
book
Do
right
it
now.
right now.
So, I mean, let's talk about the show itself and the experience on a whole. I think you touched upon this when we were there. It felt like from the moment you arrived, it was sort of like an exclusive club of people that were experiencing it. It was really cool how they'd admitted people into the venue, which is purpose built, which is incredible. Just the experience had been really well thought out from like beginning to end. And I mean, the show itself, I think we talked about this, it's very strange because you kind of forget that you're not actually watching the real ABBA in person.
Yeah.
But because it was filmed or put together with sort of motion capture and the real people, there is still that element of actually watching them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I won't spoil exactly. Minor spoilers, by the way. We might mention a few songs or something, but I always say, like, at the very beginning, I won't say how, but when the first time you see ABBA on stage, at least from where we were about 4 or 5 rows from the front in the standing section, so we were quite close.
Yeah,
quite close to the front.
Rows of people. Yeah, no, we kind of stood back a little bit from the very front barrier because we wanted to get a nice view of the whole stage rather than just be right at the front, because you want to experience the full thing. Do you know what I mean? You don't just want to be staring at the act in a way. I'm really glad that we did that actually, because it was, I don't know, it just gave us a bit more appreciation for different aspects of the show, I suppose, like the lighting, the AV in the show, which was immaculate.
But when they do appear, like, you literally, I thought, I was like, you could literally think the 4 of them were standing there as they looked in the 1970s performing for it. It was uncanny, I thought. Absolutely uncanny.
It really was. Many times throughout, I think both of us experienced this, where we just kind of forgot that we weren't watching them, that they weren't that young anymore, and they're actually in their 70s now, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
So it was really, really special experience. And just little things like as you walk into the sort of main venue space, it's sort of like a long corridor, and there's like LED rainbow lights changing above your head, things like that. It just sort of builds you up to this really sort of amazing entrance into the venue space, which, like I said before, is purpose built. It was stunning, really, wasn't it?
It was. And when you go into the space, if you're where we are in the ground, the doors open about an hour before, and there's just this like really calming, like, I guess, like natural sounds, like a natural soundscape.
Yeah.
So if you're going to see it and maybe you think, oh, I'm in the standing bit and I struggle a bit with being in a crowd and stuff like that. The atmosphere when you go in, for us at least, instantly helps make you feel a lot more like calm. People sit down on the floor. It's not like a normal stadium where it's like a concrete floor where there's lots of rubbish on it, but it was I can't even but the floor is designed so that you can just sit down on it for like
there was a steward coming and telling people to stand up a while before the show started, but I had a really bad back on the day, so I did actually sit down, and I thought, oh, the floor's actually really comfortable. But yeah, like Adam said, the soundscape and the AV that was sort of projected onto the screens in front of the stage as you walk in was really, really calming. I think for people like us as well, like I know for myself, I sort of struggle with like sensory overload sometimes, so I was a little bit anxious about going into such a big space with lots of people, and with it being quite loud. Actually, when we went in, it, like you say, it was really calming. I just generally felt like my focus was no longer on how many people there were going to be. It was on how vast the space was and how beautiful the sounds and the AV was. And I thought it was a really nice way to lead into the show as well, because it sort of contrasted the contents in many ways, but it sort of gave you a glimpse into like the different aspects of what you may see within the show. So it was really cool. Let's talk about our highlights, I guess, like what our favourite parts of the show were. As we said before, like there may be small spoilers in this. We don't want to give too much away because of course you should just go and experience it as if for the first time and enjoy it for what it is. But there were certain aspects that we particularly enjoyed about the show. So Adam, I will start with you.
I've already sort of touched on the opening, how they like the entrance and the first song. The first song may not be, depending on like how much of an ABBA fan you are, it might not be a song you may instantly recognise. And I think that was one of my big highlights throughout the show. That obviously, of course, as you might expect, they play a lot of the big hits that you'd expect. Some of them aren't there though. Just you'll have to realise which ones. But they also played a few songs that were either like B-sides or album tracks. And for someone like myself, who's quite a big ABBA fan, to hear those songs perform live, if you like, that was quite nice. Because obviously, for any artist, greatest hits are great. That's why they're the greatest hits. But I don't know. I like hearing the album tracks or the B-sides. And ABBA, I mean, ABBA's B-sides and album tracks are often quite good. And against some of them, I guess on to my last major highlight, there are points in this show where you're hearing the music, you don't necessarily see the four members, but what you do see is quite spectacular, and I won't say anything more than that.
They had a really nice mix of songs in there, ones that everybody will know and love, and then a little bit more unusual choices, but equally as brilliant, if not more so, because they're just, I feel like every ABBA song is a masterpiece in its own way. I've always really enjoyed listening to ABBA's music, but I think going to ABBA Voyage sort of really honed in on that and made me realise how much of the music I know and appreciate. I think one of the highlights for me was the lighting throughout. I am a big fan of good lighting in any show, whether it's a play, musical, a gig, anything at all. It was just so well designed, and there were moments where, because we were so close to the front in the standing area, I sort of turned around to look around the stadium and was like, oh my god, Adam, turn around, look at how beautiful this is. It had been sort of designed in such a way that it was like a 3D experience of lighting. Whoever had designed it was clearly at the top of their game, a master in their craft, and I really, really appreciated it.
And props to all the crew. Like there's a band as well.
Yeah,
they were fantastic. The singers, the musicians, just everyone involved really was on their top game.
Yeah, so I would say a 5-star review from us.
I think at the moment dates are going until May 2023, as is. Yeah. I mean, you'd hope and you'd expect, really. I mean, it's ABBA. You'd hope that would get extended, but of course the venue is purpose built. So in the event, I guess, where if they weren't extending, it could be taken down. So I'd say to be sure, you've got until May next year at the time of this recording, but hopefully it will go on and on and on and on. And if you're worried about, obviously it's in London, if you're worried about transport links, it's literally next to Pudding Mill Lane tube station, which I think they did intentionally because it's a good, I mean, we were staying in a hotel only about a 10-minute walk away.
Yeah.
So if you live or if you know anyone in the area of Stratford in London, because again, that's a good tube transport link as well. If you can stay in that area, if you go in just for this show, that'd be recommended. But if you can't, don't worry. Pudding Mill Lane is on the, oh God, tube knowledge. I think it's on the DLR. It's on one of the overground lines.
Yeah, it is DLR.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And you briefly mentioned it then, I think. Oh no, I don't know if you did. Never mind. The merchandise for the show.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Where do you start?
Where do you start? I have to mention it. There was so much, and I really, really liked that. In a way, because often you go to a show, there might be 1 or 2 choices of t-shirt. There might be a bag, a magnet, a pen, whatever. Whereas there just felt like such a diverse bunch of merchandise that you could get your hands on. Granted, not all of it was like cheap as chips, but we did quite well, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this day and age, any sort of concert thing, prices are going to be jacked up a little bit. I think people have just come to expect that. But if you're maybe, even whether you're a casual ABBA fan or a big ABBA fan, I think there's something in the merchandise that will appear. I mean, you got a keyring, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the ABBA Voyage keyring, which I will take a picture of and I'll put it on here now so you can see it. It was actually really lovely. I can't remember how much it was. Was it £5 or £10?
I think it was a £5 or £10, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you got a t-shirt and pin badges, and we did quite well, really. I think we picked things that were reasonably priced, if not the cheaper options, because that was what we could afford at the time. And we left feeling really, really happy with that. And yeah, I think it's always nice when you go to an experience as special as ABBA Voyage to get something to remember the experience with.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm really buzzing with my little keyring.
Yeah, my badges and t-shirt. But honestly, any of your needs have got sweatshirts, hoodies, knitted jumpers, posters, trays, towels, tablecloths.
Yeah.
There's
everything.
Inside like the foyer bit, I thought that was nice laid out as well. They have like different sections, didn't they? So you had like the bars over here, you had a food stand.
Yeah.
And then there was actually 2, wasn't there? I think there was 2 merch booths, which was needed because, everyone wanted the merchandise. So yeah, if you're a big ABBA fan and you want that merch, just save up all your pennies and you can. But in terms of like the tickets as well, I think it ranges. I think when I booked it, I'm trying to remember, I think going in the standing bit is slightly cheaper.
Yes,
but I think, I don't know if you touched on it, but I think no matter where you sit, whether you're in the actual seated tier bit or whether you're stood, you get so much. I don't think you're missing out really, no matter where you are. And I think they've built it with that in mind, because it's only a 1,500 seat, which surprised us, I think, because we thought the scale of this show, we thought, it's going to be like arena size where it'll be like at least 5,000, but no, it's only 1,500 people. So I think for us, we noted when we're standing, like as the night goes on, people bunch up together. But I think when it started, we were surprised at
how much space we had.
Yeah, and we're not talking like we didn't have like loads and loads, but compared to normal,
it wasn't cramped. It didn't feel like you'd all been shoved in or anything. You did have room to move. I would like to go again and sit for it. And be in the seated area. Yeah. Just go and book a ticket, basically.
Go and see it right now.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you to Adam.
My pleasure.
For coming on again, doing another review. It's been an absolute joy. There's another review coming next week, which will be same time, 7:30 Sunday. And I'm going to be reviewing all of the Edinburgh Fringe shows that I saw this year. Oh God, It's going to be a long one, I can tell. But nonetheless, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. Maybe you've seen ABBA Voyage. What did you think? Let's have a chat about it. Maybe you want to book and see it. Drop us a message. I'm sure between myself and Adam, we can give you all the expertise we have.
Absolutely.
And finally, subscribe if you haven't already. Honestly, it means so much when I see more subscribers on my little channel. It really, really does. But thank you again for watching, and we'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, go down below, let's have a chat about it, innit?
Oh, gangster.